Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Super Suits, the show where we take a closer look at the most famous legal battles in the history of superheroes and comic books. And to truly appreciate this particular super suit, I'm going to first need to give you all a little refresher course on the life and times of one Jim Shooter. Shooter is a comic book legend who in 1966 began selling stories to DC Comics at the tender age of 14. No, seriously, I'm not joking. What were you doing at 14? By 1978, he succeeded Archie Goodwin to become Marvel's 9th editor-in-chief. During this period, publisher Stan Lee relocated to Los Angeles to better oversee Marvel's animation, television, and film projects, leaving Shooter largely in charge of the creative division at Marvel's New York offices. Marvel enjoyed some of its very best successes during Shooter's 9-year tenure as editor-in-chief, such as Chris Claremont and John Byrne's run on the Uncanny X-Men, Frank Miller's Daredevil, and Walt Simonson's Thor, just to name a select few. He also put an end to the chronic lateness that had crippled Marvel Comics at that time. Of course, very few people out there can say they love their boss. Well, I mean, except for me doing this show right now. He's great, he's awesome. And even though Shooter was known for giving great incentives to those who worked for him, plenty of people felt he was a tyrant who ran the bullpen with an iron fist. It was perhaps because of this bad blood he was fired from Marvel in 1987. Not that any of that slowed him down, because by 1989 he helped found Valiant Comics, which started out doing video game tie-ins but eventually grew to having their very own stable of heroes like Exo Manowar and Shadow Man. Sadly, he was yet again ousted from this company in 1992. Yeah, if you couldn't already tell, Jim Shooter is like the Charlie Brown of the comic industry. But trust me, I'm not even halfway done this yet. That was just the context you needed moving forward. By 1992, Shooter and his associates founded Defiant Comics, and I mean, really, third time has to be the charm, and why wouldn't it be? They had a great series in mind, a real contender. Their flagship book would be called Plasm, the story of a living planet called the Org, which must constantly be fed. When the Org comes to Earth, however, 5 genetically modified humans are chosen to stop it. Great premise, am I right? There was going to be all kinds of merchandise, action figures, lunchboxes, trading cards that when you collected them all would actually make up a special Zero issue. Yeah, this was the 90s in comics after all, that sort of stuff was par for the course. There was only one tiny snag. You see, Marvel UK, you'll all remember them from my Hell's Angels episode. If not, be sure to click the link right there. You see, Marvel UK already had a character named Plasmer. Of course, she didn't have a book at this time, just a copyright filed in the UK as intended to use, but nothing else. Marvel UK felt that the two names were far too similar and would cause confusion, so a lawsuit was filed. If this all seems petty, it's because it totally was. By the 90s, the comic industry was headed for a crash, and a desperate Marvel UK was looking for anything to help them stave off death for just a bit longer, even if that meant becoming an actual org and needing to eat another comic company before it even got its feet off the ground, while also for the rest of Marvel as a company to metaphorically flip the bird to their old boss man. Now, obviously for these videos, I try my best to keep my own personal feelings out and just report to you, the audience, the legal facts as they were written, but it was really transparent what Marvel UK was doing here. They even went so far as to rush out a Plasmer book just to strengthen their own legal case. Shooter and Defiant tried to play a ball, agreeing to change the name of the book to Warriors of Plasm, but by this point there was no way around it. In September 1993, Marvel struck and took Defiant to court. Legend even has it that the judge scolded Marvel UK for their dirty tactics, comparing them to Goliath in the David and Goliath story, and while Defiant would ultimately go on to win this case, they were still out $300,000 in legal fees, and the court case had tied up their merchandising deals, which ended up falling through. Defiant would end up going bankrupt as a result of this suit. And perhaps the saddest part of all is that in the end, none of this even helped Marvel UK. They would close their doors not long after Defiant did. Wow, this super suit video turned out to be a real bummer, didn't it? Did not intend that one, especially so close to Christmas time. Yikes. Oh, no, it's okay, I can save it. I can totally save it. Whatever became of Jim Shooter, you might be asking yourself? Well, at the age of 64, he's still very much all about the comics, and you can even go read his blog where he goes into great detail about all his time spent with the cape and cowl set. It's a damn fine read if you ask me, and you should check it out sometime. Well, that will just about do it for me for another episode of Super Suits. Thank you so much for watching. Down in the comment section down below, why don't you sound off and tell me what other cool lawsuits you'd like to see me cover on the show? show. And if you want to learn a little bit more about cool comic book creators, Scott's got you covered with a ton of awesome educational videos. Here's one he did about Stan Lee in the Marvel movies. And if you still find yourself in a bit of an MCU mood, then you can drop by Kate Joel, my own personal channel where I reviewed season 1 of Jessica Jones. I promise if nothing else, it should make you smile.